Hi and welcome to the Canceled News. I'm Adam Yenser, and I knew Ellen had COVID before any other news network. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share is what my social media expert friend says I should tell you every episode. Like I mentioned, Ellen has COVID. I was in the room with her the day she tested positive, but I'm not considered high risk because the virus spreads through your mouth, nose, and eyes. And I was wearing a mask that covers my mouth and nose, and Ellen doesn't let us make eye contact. Here's what else is in the news. A 90-year-old grandmother in England was the first to receive a Pfizer COVID vaccine. She will now live a long, healthy few more months. According to her husband, it's not the first time she's had something from Pfizer inside her. And due to her slow walking speed, Bill Gates says she's been very easy to track so far. Dr. Monsef Slaoui, the chief of Operation Warp Speed, says that the U.S. plans to immunize its entire population by June, just like when the USS Enterprise would enter warp speed and reach its destination by June. Now, many in the U.S. still insist they won't take the vaccine, saying, "over our dead bodies." On Friday, the Supreme Court rejected a lawsuit by Texas and Donald Trump challenging the election results, which was Donald Trump's last path to victory. In a related story, President Trump signed an executive order creating the Ultra Mega Super Court, which is better than the Supreme Court times infinity plus 1,000. So the election results are pretty much final at this point, and YouTube has even said they're going to start censoring content that questions the US election results. So I thought I'd put that to the test by asking as many absurd questions about the US election results as I can tonight. Like, can we really be sure this llama didn't win the US election? Israel's former space security chief said that aliens exist and that Donald Trump knows about it and has been on the verge of revealing the truth, which would be the perfect way to keep it secret since CNN will insist that he's lying. But thanks, Biden supporters. Thanks for voting for the guy who's not going to tell us about the aliens. Israel's space security chief also said that the aliens are part of a galactic federation that is waiting for the right time to welcome humanity. Now, not to cast doubt on his story, but that's also the exact plot of Star Trek First Contact. But the more important question is, how can we be sure the Galactic Federation of Aliens didn't manipulate the US election results? The Olympic Committee announced that breakdancing will become an Olympic sport in 2024, and the new Olympic Stadium will feature a pool, a running track, and an old piece of cardboard. A new study of lockdown behavior found that binge drinking increased by 20% for every week that a person stayed home. Now I just need to get my results peer-reviewed and published somewhere. The Kardashians have canceled their annual Christmas party due to the pandemic and because they don't want what Kanye's getting them this year. The decision has been especially hard on Rob, who was really looking forward to playing Santa again. But speaking of Kanye West, can we really be sure he didn't win the US presidential election? A couple in India got married wearing full PPE suits after the bride tested positive for coronavirus. Unfortunately, she'll still have to wait 2 more weeks after the wedding night to finally show Bob and Vagine. Several restaurants and businesses in Orange County have signed a pact saying that they will ignore California's lockdown orders. According to one Orange County resident, they're really more like what you would call guidelines than actual rules. A disgruntled Dunkin' Donuts customer in Georgia stabbed an employee after they ran out of his favorite donut. Luckily, he was caught by the 15 officers already on the scene. Mario Lopez will star in A Recipe for Seduction, a Lifetime movie sponsored by KFC. Meanwhile, his Saved by the Bell co-star Dustin Diamond will be working at KFC. Director Christopher Nolan slammed Warner Brothers' decision to stream all of its 2021 movies on HBO Max, calling it the worst streaming service, which is the nicest thing anyone's ever said about Peacock. Medical schools have seen an 18% increase in applications and are calling it the Fauci effect, believing they were inspired by America's coronavirus expert. Or it could be because Democrat governors made every other type of work illegal. Nicolas Cage will host a new Netflix show that explores the history of swear words. For instance, the swear word shitty historically describes the Left Behind movie. A mall Santa in Connecticut was arrested for exposing himself to a coworker. And according to the police report, it shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. The Santa will now have to register on the state naughty list and inform his neighbors. Another mall Santa made a young boy cry after he asked for a Nerf gun and Santa said no guns. I'm sorry, but you can't pretend to be that progressive when you still use slave labor. The owner of Pineapple Hill Saloon in Sherman Oaks is accusing Los Angeles County of hypocrisy after they forced her bar to close and then allowed a film production crew to set up craft service tables in the parking lot. But I'll be honest, I know a lot of people who have gotten sick at Pineapple Hill Saloon. Not from COVID, it's because one of my friends got 3 pitchers of Grand Marnier that we had to finish. Due to the popularity of stock apps and online tutorials, day trading is becoming a widespread addiction like casino gambling. This isn't really a joke, it's a PSA for my cameraman, Vlad. Don't get carried away over there.
All right. I actually lost, yesterday I lost $50 because there was, hold on, I need to cut anyway because it's...
Oh, sure you do. Shoppers at a Walmart in Michigan caused a 100-person stampede trying to get a PS5. Which must have been terrifying, especially considering that 100 Michigan Walmart shoppers probably weigh as much as like 500 regular people. But speaking of Michigan, that's one of the places where I really question the results of the US presidential election. China is reportedly using genetic engineering to create snipers that can see twice as far as regular human beings, in case you were wondering what their scientists were doing instead of stopping the coronavirus outbreak. Speaking of China, there are reports that California Representative and former Democrat presidential candidate Eric Swalwell had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy named Fang Fang. And it turns out the reason he didn't want Donald Trump calling COVID the China virus is because that's what he already calls chlamydia. But that is one good Chinese spy. I mean, look at all those L's she had to pronounce. Burberry is selling a men's t-shirt for $400 that has holes cut out to reveal the nipples, in case you were wondering why we haven't been welcomed into the Galactic Federation yet. The government has filed an antitrust lawsuit demanding that Facebook be broken up, and then 1 year later they'll show Facebook a painful memory to remind it of its breakup. Elon Musk left California and moved to Texas, where he'll be free to get high and talk to Joe Rogan for all of eternity. A principal in Pennsylvania was fired after posting on Facebook that she'd rather vote for a potato than Joe Biden, and weeks later, several ballots for the potato were found in a ditch. But seriously, how can we really be sure that that potato didn't win the US presidential election?